I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best. I love the Old Testament. I love it. The reason I love it is because I like history. And let's go to 1 Samuel. But I love history. So therefore, when we start studying in the Old Testament, I really, really, really love it because you get your background. And you know, we need a foundation before we can move on. You know, when they building a house, they lay what I don't know what you call it, those things, but you know, the wooden things and the strings, and they fill it in and all of that. And that's what we need before we can understand what God intends for us to know and to understand and love the word. You got to have a background. So let's go to 1 Samuel. And I'm going to lay the foundation. I think Lady Deborah told us about, you know, Saul has been chasing David forever out of meanness. But now there was a spirit, evil spirit, that was on him. And we have to be careful that those spirits don't get on us. And, you know, David knew not to touch God's anointed because God had put Saul in place. And we're down to where he went to the witch. In the Bible, they call her a familiar spirit. But now, I'm going to call her witch. He went to the witch, the only one that was left in his kingdom, because he had killed them all but one. And when he went to the witch, he asked her, he told her he needed to speak to Samuel. Now let's look at verse 18. 28. And I don't know whether that was Samuel talking to him or evil spirit. But anyway, he thought it was Samuel. And Samuel did tell him what was going to happen. So let's look at 18. Now let's go up to 15. And Samuel said to Saul, "Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up?" And Saul answered, I am so distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God has departed from me. He knew that. He knew that the Lord had left him. And then let's look at, and then Samuel tells him, or the spirit rather, tells him what's going to happen. So let's look at 18. Verse 18. Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek, therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. Now you know to think about your children dying, and I think he probably fell out after that. But he said, thy sons will be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Then it goes on and says, then Saul fell straight away all along on the earth. He fell out to get that kind of information, that you're going to die and your 3 sons. Now, he had a 4th son, but I didn't find very much on him. But one of them was Jonathan, who was David's friend and who had protected David. He did all he could to take care of David. All right, that's the foundation that I wanted to lay. So let's go to 29. Now, the Philistines are becoming very suspicious of David. They don't trust him. But now the king trusted him. But the rest of the group, or the rest of the giants, did not trust David. And this is what they say. Let's look at the first verse of 29. Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by a fountain which is in Jezreel. And the lords of the Philistines passed on by thousands, by hundreds, and by thousands. That's a bunch of folk. But David and his men passed on in the reward with Achish. Now, David had, I guess, been with them for some time, and as Lady Deborah taught us last Sunday, he was killing them from the inside. And he made sure that none were left to tell the story. So I can see where the Philistines would be a little suspicious, because, see, this is what they're going to say. Then said the prince of the Philistines, What do these Hebrews here? And Achish said unto the prince of the Philistines, Is not this David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, which hath been with me these days or these years? And I believe it was probably a year, maybe a year and 6 months. And I have found no fault in him. He fell unto me unto this day. But now the others weren't feeling like that. David was Achish's personal bodyguard. Let's look at 1 Chronicle. 1 Chronicle 12 and 19. And it says, are you there? And there fell some of Manasseh to David, which he came with the Philistines against Saul to battle. But they helped them not. See, David wasn't fighting. Listen, David only had 600 men. Only 600. You need to remember that. For the lords of the Philistines, upon advisement, sent him away, saying, He will fall to his master Saul, to the jeopardy of our heads. He's saying, listen, we go up against Saul. David isn't going to fight with us. He's going to be with Saul, which he was. Let's go back. I was trying to find where they told the king that, was this not the one who they were singing songs about, where Saul killed what? How many? I don't remember the number, but David killed more. And so these Philistines were concerned about, you might as well say it, they had 600 men who were really enemies to them in their midst. But now the king liked David. But this is what he told them, the king. Then Achish called David and said unto him, Surely as the Lord liveth, thou hast been upright, and thou going out, and thou coming in with me in the host is good in my sight. For I have not found evil in thee since the day of thou coming unto me unto this day. Nevertheless, the Lord's favor thee not. They were in essence, but you know what? As I was studying this, I thought about, now David is the one that killed Goliath. So maybe this generation of Philistines are remembering that. Because, you know, you think about, but a lot of folks, it's better to say that it's better to keep your enemy close so you know what they're going to do to you. And, you know, in some instances, that's true. Keep them close so you know which way they're going to dart, or how they're going to backstab you, or what they're going to do to you. Because, you know, we're good at backstabbing. And it's all for nothing. Because all of us work for the things that we get. And there is no reason for anybody to be jealous of anybody. You buy what you want. You buy what you want. I buy what I like. And that's just the way it is. But now, David had been, I believe it was a year and 6 months that he had been with the Philistines. Let's look at verse 8. Verse 7. Wherefore now return and go in peace, that thou displease not the lords of the Philistines. And David said unto Achish, But what have I done? And what hast thou found in thy servant so long as I have been with thee unto this day, that I may not go fight against the enemies of my Lord the king? The enemies. And even he had Achish talking about God. And I said, look at the heathen. I guess he'd been around David enough to begin referring to the Lord. And Achish answered and said to David, I know that thou art good in my sight as an angel of God, notwithstanding the princes of the Philistines have said, he shall not go up with us to battle. And this is where David returns, he and his 600 men return to Ziklag. And this chapter can be applicable to us because it teaches us how we should fight battles or the problems that we have in our life. And I don't have it in paper because I wrote in my Bible. I think the first time we went over this, I wrote some things I wanted to remember. Now remember, David had 600 people, and that's it. Let's look at verse 1. And it came to pass when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire. Can you remember, will you think about returning home and everything's gone? They were devastated. And this is what they said. And had taken the women captives, and were therein. They slew not any, either great or small. Now, they didn't kill them, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captive. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voices and wept until they had no more tears. Now, when a problem hits us, or when something knocks us to our knees, and some things will, then the next thing you're supposed to do, after you wept or whatever, is get up and get in the Word. And if you can't say nothing but, Lord, help me, sometimes that's all we can say is, Lord, help me. When I went to Nashville, I had received a report about my oldest son, and they were doing a biopsy. And so, when they tell you that, it'll kind of make you nervous. But I told Pastor and Lady Deborah about it. And I also reminded them that I was like the Shunammite woman. Now, her child was dead. Mine not dead. I got in that Word, and I began to pray. And when I talked with my daughter-in-law, I said, we're going to stand on the Word. We're going to believe that this test is going to come out positive. Standing on the Word and praying. And the test came out negative. Came out negative. Nothing wrong. But you can get scares that will roll you over. But when you get up, because see, listen here. He said they wept till they had no more tears. Let's look at 5. And David, now they took David's 2 wives were taken. Now Ahinam and the Jezreel, I don't know why they keep referring to her as the Jezreeless, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning his men, the ones he had protected, the ones he took them into the fight, with the Philistines to hide from Saul. They were talking about stoning him. And I can imagine there was a harbor there. So the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord, his God. And sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. Don't look, when we're going through, don't look at what you see, but begin to encourage yourself. And we also need to remember we're not the only ones going through. If you get to talking to some people and they tell you what's going on in their lives, you'll say, my problem was minor. So when you're going through, encourage yourself. I think it's a song out about encouraging yourself. And David said to Abiathar, the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me thither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. Now, we don't have to have an ephod. Now, the ephod was brought so that they could get in, David could get in direct communication with the Lord. That's what, but what do we have? We have prayer. When when God died for us, that meant we could pray for ourselves and get in touch with Him. I said we don't need a priest. We don't need, I don't know what these other churches have, but I just know the Catholics have priests and all of that. We don't need anybody standing between us. We can go to Him for ourselves. All right. And David inquired at the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after the truth? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. What does that say? Sometimes we may lose something, but He'll give us more than what we had. More than what we had. All right, let's see what happens. So David went, he and the 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. Some of the men were so, they just couldn't make it. Because they were in grief. And they just couldn't make it. So what happens? Now David has what? 400 men. So it don't take a lot. Just you and God. That's all it takes. All right. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abode behind, which were so faint that they could not go over the brook Besor. Now I can kind of understand that 200. But I also know that we have to remember that we're in the palm of God's hand. We have to remember that. All right, let's move on. Verse 11. And they found an Egyptian in the field, and brought him to David, and gave him bread, and he did eat, and they made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of a cake of figs, and 2 clusters of raisins, and when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread, nor drunk any water, 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto him, to whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I am. See, God that was planned. He left somebody there for them to be able to know which way to go. VJ, give me that chair. You can turn that camera on. I'm going to finish this. My voice carries. They can hear me. And David said unto him, to whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me because 3 days ago I fell sick. Now he left it. That shows that some people don't care nothing about you. When you going through, you'll find out who your friends are. And I always, when I was counseling, I would tell the young ladies, you got an inner circle and you got an outer circle. The outer circle are your acquaintances. The inner circle are the people you let in. And sometimes you have to be careful with that. Amen. But again, some people like to keep the enemy close to them. I don't. Once I find out how you are, that's it. I'm through. I'm cordial, but I'm through. And you don't have to worry about me backstabbing you, talking about you, getting on the phone. I just don't fool with you anymore. Well, I don't. Let's look at verse 14. Now he's telling them, this Egyptian is telling them that what they had done. He said, we made an invasion upon the south of the Cherethites, and upon the coast which belonged to Judah, and upon the south of Canaan, and we burned Ziklag with fire. He told them what they had done. We are the ones who destroyed your home and stole your women and your children. And David said to him, canst thou bring me down to this company? And he said, swear unto me by God that thou wilt neither kill me nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring them down to this company. He don't want to go back. I don't blame him. You get sick. But now, that's a good lesson. Because when you get sick, you also find out who your true friends are. Because if they can't visit you, at least they could call you. They call everybody else. And don't stay sick a long time. That narrows it down even more. And that one that's stuck with you, that's your friend. That one that calls you to check on you every day. That's your friend. But you'll find out who your friends are. And you know, we've been taught here that get in trouble. Don't care how good you've been to folk. Get in trouble. And you'll find out who will help. Might be one person. And that one person is the one that God sent to help you. And whatever whether it's monetary or whatever, you are to accept that help. Because I had to tell a friend of mine about God is not coming down, y'all, out of heaven. He uses people. He's not going to come down out of heaven to deliver whatever it is that you need. He uses a person. And as I was also studying, I thought about Helen Jean, and I still call her my angel. I was going through, and I don't tell a lot of folk about my business, because I grew up in this time, so I know how they are. You know, when you down, they on that phone. Spread the word. But anyway, Jeannie had been out. She had just left church, had a little hat on. She was looking real cute. She came by my house, and she ministered to me for 2 hours and didn't know it. She was talking directly to me. And before she left, she said, Jean, we have a Bible study class on Thursdays. Why don't you come? And that's how I started. But she ministered to me. That was something that I needed because of what I was going through. So he'll send somebody if you will accept them. He'll send somebody. Just like that he let in this story, or what rather in this chapter of the Bible, he left that Egyptian boy there for a purpose, so he could tell David where to go and how, where are they? All right, let's look at verse 15 is yes. And David said to him, Canst thou bring me down to this company? And he said, Swear unto me by God that thou wilt neither kill me nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this company. He didn't want to go back to his master. He went off and left him sick. All right, let's look at 16. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking. They were rejoicing because they had destroyed Ziklag. They had all these captives, so they were happy. And that's the way people rejoice over when you're going through. So you can't talk too much now. Be careful who you tell your secrets to. Now, I don't know about any other town, but I know about this. Be careful who you tell your secrets to. Because, they'll look at you. You've worked all your life, and God has blessed you to get some of the things you want, and they'll look at you and they still don't like you. And I used to talk about, I may just have 2 dresses, but look how long I saved for those dresses. So why you gonna dislike me because I got 2 different dresses? And y'all know I love African wear. I love it. And whenever they come to Memphis, I go get me some more African wear. I love it. So you have to be careful. When I got my car, and a lady from the church where I used to go, she said, Jean, you got a Cadillac. I said, who told you that? I didn't. I hadn't said nothing about nothing a Cadillac. And I did drive it home myself. They brought it to me. And I said, who told you that? She wouldn't tell me. But that lets you know that people, that's all I can say, that people don't want to see you with nothing. Nothing. They want to see you with your head hanging down and looking rough. Now, if you looking like that, You got a bunch of friends. All right, let's go back. Let's go to 16. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of the land of Judah. They were rejoicing. They're happy. We got this. This is what we took. And let me tell you something else. You better not be happy about somebody's downfall. When somebody tells you about somebody that's going through, you let them know, I need to pray. We need to pray for that person. We don't need to talk about them. Because like we've been taught right here in this church, it may not be at your door today, but it's on its way. So don't rejoice. And I've said this since I've been here. My phone rarely rings because I read a lot. I don't want you disturbing me. I carry a book everywhere I go. I carry a book. And Jackie sometimes get on me. Gene, that's why you had those headaches, because you read all the time. But if I'm not doing this, I'm reading a book. And that's, black people need to become readers. Study for yourself. Read it for yourself. Don't wait for Sunday for the pastor, or Wednesday for the pastor to teach it to you. Get in it for yourself. And if it's something you don't understand, then you ask him questions. But anyway, they were eating and dancing, drinking, having a good time. Because, now David just got 400 men. And see, this God does us the same way. We talked about lying. David lied. But God was still with him. He could have killed Saul, but he did not touch him. Because he said that God had put Saul in that position. So he did not touch Saul. All right, let's see what happens. Let's look at verse 17. Now they're going to fight for 2 days. It takes that 400 men. And think about all of those people. 400 men. And it says, and David, I've written over it. I think they smite. And David smite them from the twilight eve unto the evening of the next day. And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. They got them all but 400. And David only had 400 men. Now that's amazing. But God was with it. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away. And David rescued his 2 wives. Everybody got back what they had lost. And probably even more. Because now remember, the Amalekites had gone through Ziklag, Judah, and I can't remember the other place. But as they were sweeping through, they were gathering up. So that means that when the 400 men that were with David, they had a bunch of stuff. And 19, and there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. He got it all back. All of it. And David took all the flocks and the herds, which they drove before those of the cattle, and said, "This is David's spoil." And David came to the 200 men, which were so faint, they were so aggrieved that they couldn't go fight. You know, a lot of times as Christians, we got strong Christians, and then we got medium Christians or medium. Then we got some that we have to carry along with us. They might not know the word like you do. So you got to nurture them and pull them along with you. And it says here, and David came to the 200 men, which were so faint, they would not follow David, whom they had made also to abide at the brook of Besor. And they went forth to meet David and to meet the people that were with him. And when David came near to the people, he saluted them. What you think the 400 men said? What do y'all think? It would be just like us. They didn't do anything. So they don't deserve anything. But is that right? It's not right. Look what David told him. What? What did you say?
I'm mumbling back here. I said, I don't even know why y'all here. Y'all know y'all wouldn't want to be around there. But, since I got the floor, let me say this. Going back to what you were talking about, you asked the question of why they don't like me, like I got a Cadillac or something, why they don't like me. And I think there's a better question that can be asked. Because even if you get the answer to that question, it's going to make you mad. Why they don't like you. But the better question that can be asked that you actually could get an answer to, and it would probably enhance your life, is why does it matter to me?
Now,
and
Pastor.
once that I find out that, then I could be a better person. But why you don't like me ain't going to make me more angry. It's going to make me look at you as even more disdain than I was looking at you before. But when I find why does it matter? Why can't I allow you to have the opinion that you have of me? Once then I can do some introspection and look into myself, because it'll come down to my insecurity. Nobody got to like you. Who you supposed to be?
You're right. But to overcome that, a person has to know who they are on the inside. You have to really know who you are on the inside. And then when they throw those darts at you, then they'll just bounce off of it. It won't disturb you as much. What time is it, Pastor? I see folk coming in.
1 minute.
How many?
I know you saw Uncle Jordan come in. I know your time.
Well, let me go real quick. Then answered all the wicked men and men of Belial, of those that went with David, and said, because they went not with us, we will not give them out of the spoil that we have recovered, save to every man his wife and his children, that they may lead them away and depart. Now that's the world. That's what the world would say to you. I'm not giving you anything because you didn't help. So I'm not giving you anything. But is that right? All right, Pastor.
If a man won't work, you should not eat.
All right, listen to this. Then said David, ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which the Lord hath given us, who hath preserved us, and delivered the company that came against us into our hands. I'm not going to let you do that. No. We share it with everybody. Because listen, selfishness is a sin, y'all. Being selfish. Share.
And Jane, didn't it say about these guys that they were faint and they couldn't go?
They were.
They just weren't able to.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were so.
I think in a situation like that, where a person just couldn't. Not that they wouldn't.
They just
not
couldn't.
able to do what others.
Mm-hmm.
And strong also bear the infirmities.
That's right. That's right. And that's why David said, no, we share it. We're going to split it up. Everybody get an equal amount. Because now remember, these 600 men had been with David for over a year. All the while he's running from Saul, he only had those men. And David loved those men. All right. Someone else has walked in. Let me finish. For who will hearken unto you in this matter? But as his part is that goeth down to the battle, so shall his part be the tarry by the stuff. They shall part alike. We're going to share alike. And that's what God put us here from. I used to have I talk about her all the time because, listen, she was my lifeline when I was going through. Arthur's mom. She used to say to me, Gee, God didn't give you that education and that job for you to be selfish. So now, he put you here for a purpose. And when you see somebody in need, then you're to help them. But you do it in secret. You don't let nobody know what you're doing. It's between you and that person. And whether they appreciate you or not, that's irrelevant. But you do your part. And that's what David did. He said, no, I'm not going to allow them. They will get equal share of our spoils. And they had a bunch of stuff. Whole lot more than they had before. And that's the way God blesses us. You give in one hand, and then it comes back to you in another. And I know this Old Testament is more blessed to give than to receive. That's true. I believe that. And I don't mind helping. I don't worry about whether you get a check or whatever. That's not my business. If the Lord lay it on my heart to give, I'm going to give it to you. And nobody else will ever know. Now, how much time I got? I'm out, aren't I?
Told you a minute, about 5 minutes.